Come on in. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Ron.
What's up?
This speaker needs some work. Could you do it for me?
Let me guess. You're redecorating your room and starting with the most important things first.
Guess again. I'm gonna sell it.
Sell it?
Look, man, this thing's heavy. Where should I put it?
Here. Just on the bench.
Oh, hi, Paul. How are you doing? How's your dad?
He's okay.
Yeah? Well, I'm leaving now.
Don't spend too much.
Oh, come on, Ron. Who was responsible for the last overdraft?
Oh, yeah, I rest my case.
Okay, bye.
I work in a large hospital in the center of the city in their outpatient department, which would be similar to a doctor's office, and the parents bring their children in for their appointments. At first, it was very new and sometimes a little frightening. I think you get used to a lot of the problems when you see them day after day. It would seem to me that the parents would be fairly oblivious to a lot of the things that the children are manifesting and don't come to the clinic necessarily seeking help in that direction at all. They would come to the clinic with the obvious problem of a rash or something else, and then we would see the other side of it, the behavioral problems that the children would be manifesting, and would be able to pick up on the fact that, hey, maybe there's something, that's really difficult in this family, that's causing this child a lot of other problems other than just the physical. I think the aggressiveness is one thing that shows up, and when they come to clinic, it's a lot of attention-seeking behavior. They'll do anything just to get your attention and to get somebody to talk to them for a little while and really take an interest in them. I weep inwardly a lot with seeing a lot of the problems that the children have, because there often seems to be nothing that I myself can do about it. I can't take them out of the situation that they're in. Somehow we have to help them cope in that situation. My family background is one that I would probably classify as very secure. I knew my parents loved each other. I knew there would always be somebody at home when I came home from school. I could go home for lunch and I knew my mother would be there. Caring was really emphasized. I felt very loved and very secure. I really don't know how some of these kids get their strength. I think they find their way through. I think if they're school age, there are resources in the schools. They come in contact with a teacher that really takes an interest in them. And that's a resource where, the parents aren't aware of what's going on or what problems the child is having. Friends probably would be to some extent. There are social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists that are available to, talk with the parents of these children and really willing to put a lot of time into, just helping them see the problem. I see the church as being very important, especially to adolescents and teenagers who are really searching, who are really unhappy and feeling very insecure. It's an insecure enough time as it is. I was just told by another nurse, I'm thinking of, I guess she'd be about 17 years old, a girl who was really at the end of her rope and was taken in by a church that was very active in the inner city. And this nurse said that church just really pulled her through. I think communication between parents and kids is probably one of the biggest problems, and I think it's just often that they don't know how to communicate. There's a lot of feelings and there's a lot of things going on, and they just don't know how to relate that to each other, and it's difficult, so you end up not doing it at all. Relationships are very important, obviously, in a family. You certainly have to encourage the relationship between the parents and the children.
It's going to take a little while. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No. No, I'm just looking at your wedding picture. Any of your married friends having kids?
Some of them.
Oh. It's too bad.
What do you mean by that?
Look, I can't wait all day. Could you hurry up and fix the speaker?
Is there something on your mind?
I don't want to talk about it.
Have you talked to your dad?
I don't want anything to do with him.
You two aren't getting along?
How can we get along? He's never around. Look, just fix the speaker and leave me alone.
Then what? What are you going to do with the money when you sell it?
I'm gonna pack my bags and get out of here.
Where to?
Anywhere.
What's
As
the...
long as it's far away from Jack. Look,
But-
I'm just sick of being left alone while he's out chasing the buck.
But he's not.
I don't need your advice. Just fix the speaker and leave me alone.
Running away is not going
You
to.
better believe it's gonna help. Are you gonna fix the speaker or what?
Sure, I'll fix it. Where is your dad?
West Coast.
On business?
Yeah. I'm always out making the buck.
You don't think that's right?
No.
I can see where it's hard on you when your dad's gone. But he is providing for you, and he's helped out a lot right here in the community with his time and money. Whenever anyone needs it, Jack's usually there to provide it.
Yeah? Well, then how come he ignores me?
Once upon a time, the sky was his domain. Once he was up there like all the others, playing tag with the clouds, racing with the birds, challenging the sun. There was a time when his cables were as tense as a guitar string. His yellow skin stretched tightly to the very tips of his proud wings. His landing gear moved in and out as smoothly as a record player arm. Like all the others, his engine sang at his sides as he soared through thunderclouds over the fields below. He could do all the things an airplane was ever meant to do. But he can't do those things anymore. He's being neglected, abused. First, they flew him less and other planes more. Eventually, they pushed him off the far end of the runway to the edge of the airfield. The final letdown came when they stripped him of his usable parts and sold the rest of him for salvage. Stripped. And so, no more flight plans. Only to watch others fly and remember what it was like to play tag with the clouds, race with the birds, and challenge the sun.
Look at it from this point of view. When your mom died, his responsibilities doubled. Your father's a very reasonable man. If you would talk to him, I'm sure you could work something out. Instead of concentrating on why you two can't get along, concentrate on trying to find a solution.
I don't think anything would work. He's too busy for me. Why don't you just fix a speaker? I'm going to get something to eat. I'll be back in an hour for the speaker, ready or not.
Oh, hi, Paul. What's with him?
He's running away.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
He's coming back later to pick up the speaker, then he's going to sell a stereo, and buy a one-way ticket out of town.
You mean he's seriously running away?
Mm-hmm.
Well, does Jack know?
No.
Well, you are going to tell him, aren't you?
A shepherd commits many hours to looking after his sheep. His job is often lonely. He will get up early in the morning every day to check out the well-being of his flock, like examining the eyes, checking for insects, searching for hints of illness. Sheep must be supervised constantly. They will not lie down readily. They cannot relax if they are afraid of something, and they will not fight to protect their young. They tend to rush off in a panic if startled by an unexpected rabbit, or a dog, coyote, or cougar. A sheep will also be restless if pestered by flies or ticks. It will walk about shaking its head or will run off into the bushes seeking relief. A careful and watchful shepherd will take the time to notice these needs of the flock and will do his best to provide tender care. Sheep recognize their master and are relaxed more by his presence than by anything else, especially if he talks to them with a quiet, soothing voice. In order to help him recognize his sheep over against someone else's, the shepherd may earmark his sheep. He will lay the sheep's ear on a wooden block and with a sharp knife notch it with his own distinctive mark. This way he can recognize his sheep from a distance. Food and water are important. Ewes and growing lambs especially need green grass. A sheep fares best when it can eat its fill quickly and then lie down to rest. Hungry sheep, searching restlessly for food, do not fare nearly as well. They lack the vitality of those who are led into greener pastures. Water conditions are important too. Muddy pools may breed parasites that eventually harm the animal internally. Cool, clear, clean water is best for the sheep. There are many, many more details to look after when caring for animals like sheep. The job is done best by someone who knows them well and looks after them with care and understanding.
Hi.
Hi.
Speaker done yet?
Almost. You got a buyer?
Yeah. Friend of mine's gonna take it for $300.
How much did you pay for it new?
I don't know. Dad bought it. You guys can't change my mind, so quit trying.
Oh, we just want to help you, Paul.
I don't need your help.
You know, if that's your feeling, I have a hunch you'll be running away from yourself for a long time.
You guys are okay. It's my old man I gotta get away from.
Paul,
Yeah?
are you open to an offer?
Try me.
You've been alone a lot. I have a feeling you need some time to think, maybe to talk. Listen, why don't you come and spend a night or two with us? We could roll out a sleeping bag right here beside the stove.
Hey, that's a good idea.
I guess so.
Fading away, fading away. We work every day to keep up with the trends, neglecting the needs. things of this world are fading away. Fading away. Fading away. Nothing remains, it all disappears. The life in our veins will go with the years. From the depths of the earth comes a haunting reply. Just eat of the fruit and you will never die. Fading away. Fading away. Like leaves in the fall, like feathers in the wind, the days slip on by as soon as they begin. So call on our God while He may be known. The day is approaching when we'll reap what we've sown. Fading away. Fading away.
Paul, have you ever considered that God cares for you and wants to be a father to you?
Never really thought of it. I'm not the religious type.
Neither is God,
Why should he bother with me anyway?
because it's part of his nature to care for you. Jesus once told a story that illustrates that quite beautifully. Somewhere in Luke, I think. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. This is a story he told. A man had 2 sons. When the younger told his father, "I want my share of your estate now, instead of waiting until you die," his father agreed to divide his wealth between his 2 sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and took a trip to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money on parties and prostitutes. About the time his money was gone, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him to feed his pigs. The boy became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home, even the hired men have food enough and to spare, and here I am, dying of hunger. I'm going to go home to my father and say, 'Father, I sinned against both heaven and you, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as your hired man,' so at least he'd get food." So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way away, here's the amazing contrast, his father saw him coming and was filled with love and pity, and he ran and embraced him and kissed him. And said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and you, and I'm not worthy of being called your son." But the father said to the slaves, "Quick, bring the best robe in the house and put it on him, and get a jeweled ring for his finger and shoes." Obviously, he didn't have any. "And kill the calf that we have in the fattening pen. We must celebrate with a feast, for this son of mine, which was dead, has returned to life. He was lost, and now is found."
I don't know if I understand it. But there's something in what you say that I like.
Why don't you ask Jesus to come into your life?
Would I feel any different?
I don't think that's terribly important, but your attitudes would change.
That's simple. Just ask him in, like when somebody rings the doorbell.
Well, it may be simple, but it's also profound and awesome, because what happens is that God, the Creator, enters into a personal relationship with you.
So, how do you do this?
Well, you could talk to God just like you're talking to me. You could say something like, God, my life seems to be a mess. I've done things wrong and I want you to forgive me. Please, Jesus, come into my life and become Lord of it.
There is a war on. Inside some people there is a conflict, and it's killing their soul. There is a battle of fear and frustration, a brokenness that needs to be made whole. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. There is rebellion inside some people, a fight against God and doing His will. There's revolution to prove you're somebody, a restlessness that needs to be made still. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. There is a crisis inside some people, a confrontation with standards and rules, a crippling combat with losses and failures, a death wish and disease in every due. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. So be a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Be a peacemaker who will understand, and you will have peace, my friend.
I don't feel any different. Still not too crazy about my dad.
Are you willing to change that?
Yeah, I guess I am.
God will help you with whatever it takes to make things right between you and your dad.
Well, he's gonna have to. Sure can't do it on my own.
Here on The Third Story, we've been showing you a slice of real life. We hope that the program has been meaningful to you. A free Third Story magazine is available. It contains some of the items from the shows, articles about people in real-life situations, songs, plus additional features, something for the whole family. And it's free, with no obligation. You can have it simply by writing to The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'll be waiting to hear from you.